tatasya yapya vibudhottamatam dadhanam kurve sada hridi gurum karuna karakhyam Rapanuja Dayapatram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanathāryam Mande Vedanta Deshikam Lakshminatha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyuta Padambuja Yugma Rukma Vyamohatastadgarani Trunaya Mene Asmad Guror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye Mata Pita Yuvatayasthanaya Vibhutihi सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामम् श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. In the previous lecture, we looked about a few things. Why is it that the seeker is seeking? When we talk about Brahma Jignasa, why does it happen? And what is ultimately sought? How does it have to be sought? We know it is Brahman that has to be sought. Brahma Jignasa, we said. We said that is the Brahman which is Janmadhyasya Yataha, which is the reason for creation, preservation, and destruction of the universe. That is the basic identification of that Brahman. We then said that it would not be easy if we try to think that anything and everything about Brahman can be grasped with whatever we have. What do we have? We have karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, our senses, right? Our ability to see, hear, and so on are insufficient. Our logical reasoning skills are also insufficient because logical reasoning would work only when proper data is available. To grasp that information, our senses have to be capable. We can't even grasp what is happening beyond a single wall. How can we grasp about what happened before the creation of the universe? It is impossible. So, we said Shastra Yonitvat. We need a pramana, some guidance, some scripture that tells us this is what happened, this is what this is, that is what that is. Based on that, you can ask 100 questions. But something has to be there. How can you reject the Shastra? The Shastra is necessary. Then we said, okay, I accept the Shastra, but how do I interpret it? Why should I say that the creator of the universe is a sentient being? Why can't I say that nature created everything? Prakriti is the creator. We saw about all of those as well. Prakriti, which is called as Pradhana in Sankhya philosophy. We moved on. We talked about various statements present in the Vedas and how they are to be interpreted. When words like created, decided to create, and so on are used, it has to imply a sentient being. We saw about that. Then we came to the topic of Ananda, where we started wondering, what is this Ananda? What is it that we really want in life? Some person says he wants wealth. Some person says he wants happiness. Some person says he wants respect. At the end of the day, anything and everything other than happiness that people tell that this is what they want in life would ultimately give them happiness. Nobody seeks sadness. There are, of course, people who like things that are not generally liked by the public. There might be some person who likes to remain a beggar. There might be some person who likes to wear dirty clothes. But even these people, the very fact that they like to do something implies that these people feel happiness when they do that. While we might not feel happiness out of doing such things, we might feel bad when our clothes get dirty. But there are some people who get happy. As a simple example, take children who are playing in the rain. They like to play, run about. They will fall down, their clothes will get dirty. They will not worry that much. Their mother might be worried, but the children might not be so worried. At the end of the day, people seek happiness. Okay. So, how do we define a happy person? Let us say a person is happy. Can we have broad categories inside which we would want the person to be happy? That is what we went towards. And this is what Taittiriya Upanishad's Brahmananda Valli is discussing. Brahmananda Valli, which we also call as Ananda Valli. It is called Brahmananda Valli because it talks about the Ananda of the Brahman. But before talking about the Ananda of the Brahman, it tries to explain to us Ananda in a way that we can understand. The Veda's purpose is to help us understand. Of course, it is cryptic, it is complex. As we go through Anandavalli, we will realize how it is playing with us. But its intention is pure. It is trying to teach us about Ananda. So, let us look at Anandavalli. What is Anandavalli really saying? We are not going to look at Anandavalli from the beginning till the end. We are going to look at only what is absolutely important for us in this context, in the context of understanding about Ananda. And it is very important for us, right? So, yuva syat. Let us say there is a person who is youthful. Okay? Let us say a person is youthful. Sadhu yuva. He is pious. Adhyayakaha. He is well knowledgeable. He has studied well. Ashishtaha. He is full of hope and confidence and positivity. Dhrudishtaha. He is very firm. He doesn't have fear. He doesn't have a faltering attitude. Balishtaha. He is strong. Imagine such a person. He is youthful in age. He is very positive. He is having a very firm mind because so far, whatever he has wanted has happened. And he knows somehow or the other I will achieve. He doesn't have any kind of fear or faltering in his mind. He has no confusion. And he is also strong. He is capable. Is that all? No. It goes on. Now imagine that this person, tasyayam prithvi sarva vittasya purna syat. For this person, there is so much wealth that he has everything with him. He has the entire world full of wealth all over the world. Take it in whichever way you want. How happy would that person be given all of these? Think about it. Whatever he desires happens. He is firm-willed. His mind is stable. He is physically youthful, energetic. He has studied well. He is strong. He is wealthy as well. He has everything, right? Whatever he wants, he is able to accomplish. How happy would such a person be? This happiness, Anandavalli says, take it as the Ananda of a Manushya. Let us give it some name, variable name, right? Some value of Ananda is there. How much Ananda does he experience? He experiences some amount. We don't know how to measure it, but let us give it some name. Like in algebra, they say, let this be x. In that way, let us give this a name. What name shall we give it? The Veda says, let us call this as Manusha Anandaha. This is one Manusha Ananda. So Manusha Ananda is a unit of happiness. How much Ananda is there in one Manusha Ananda? That much happiness as there would be with a man who is youthful, who is wealthy, who is able to accomplish things, who has a firm will, who is positive, all of that. That is one Manusha Ananda. Now, if you are able to imagine this much happiness, multiply this by 100. 100 times the happiness of what you might imagine to be the happiness of the most happiest man in the world. Teye shatam manusha anandaha sa eko manushya gandharvanam anandaha. That is the ananda of a manushya gandharva. The manushya gandharva is not a manushya technically. He is a different race. He is not here with us. But he would have much more capabilities, right? We are at the end of the day bound by our capabilities, as we discussed in the previous class. A Manushya can be very firm. He can achieve a lot of things that he wants. But there are certain things that he cannot achieve, no matter how much he tries. For example, if I want to fly, maybe I can fly in an aeroplane, I can fly in a helicopter, I can fly in a rocket. But can I grow wings and fly like the crow? I cannot. The crow is a very simple creature. I am a much more complex one. I am much more capable than the crow. My Ananda has a much higher limit than the crow's Ananda. Yet, there are certain things that the crow can do, which I cannot do. Suppose for some reason I desire to do whatever the crow can do. I also want to fly. Can I fly with wings? I can flap my hands, but they wouldn't work. I could attach fake wings, but they wouldn't be real wings. So there is indeed some amount of limitation. That limitation reduces as you go upper and upper in the direction of more capable creatures. So from the Manushya, when we go to Manushya Gandharva, what would be the maximum possible happiness there? One Manushya Gandharva's Ananda would be 100 times the Ananda of the Manushya. It is just some number, right? We are normalizing. Let us assume it's 100 times. Why 100? Why not 98? Let us not ask such silly questions. It is for us to understand that it is much more. 100 should be taken with a pinch of salt. So now, this Manushya Gandharva Ananda, how does it work? It works for a Manushya Gandharva. Does it work for everybody above him? No. Are there creatures above that Manushya Gandharva? Yes. Te yeshatam Manushya Gandharvanam Anandaha sa eko Deva Gandharvanam Anandaha. 100 times the Ananda of the Manushya Gandharva is the Ananda of one Deva Gandharva. Deva Gandharva is another creature that is superior to the human. He is much more capable. He is more capable than even the Manushya Gandharva. due to his prarabdha karma. And therefore, he is 100 times happier potentially than the Manushya Gandharva. How much happier is he than the Manushya? He is 10,000 times as happy. The happiest man who is in Yuva Praya and who is having great health, wealth, everything is still 10,000 times less happier than the Deva Gandharva. Now, Deva Gandharva's Ananda has been defined. Multiply this by 100. That would give you the Ananda of the Pitru. You multiply that by another 100. That would be what? Sa eka ajana janam devanam anandaha. Now, you multiply this by 100. Te ye shatam ajana janam devanam anandaha. Sa eka karma devanam anandaha. What are you getting? You are getting a karma deva ananda. The karma deva has an ananda which is 100 times that of ajana jana deva. Now that deva has 100 times more happiness than the pitru. The pitru has 100 times more happiness than the Deva Gandharva. The Deva Gandharva has 100 times as much happiness as Manushya Gandharva. And Manushya Gandharva has 100 times as much happiness as the Manushya. Fine? Okay. Now, this Karma Deva, who is a Karma Deva? Karma Deva is basically a human who has attained Devatva due to his karmas. You do so much punya that you are in Devaloka. That makes you a Karma Deva. You have attained Devatva. That is still different from those who are directly Devas, right? Take Indra, for example. Indra did not become a Deva at some point of time. He was born Deva. So, Indra was born Deva, not just Indra, right? The other Devas who are there along with Deva, along with Indra. So, how do you measure for them? Let us first see for the others. Indra is the lord of all the Devas. He would come even above that. So, te yeshatam karma devanam anandaha sa eko devanam anandaha. 100 times as happy as the karma deva is the deva. 100 times as happy as an ordinary deva would be Indra, who is the lord of all the devas. 100 times happier than Indra would be Brihaspati. So 100 times the happiness of Indra is Eko Brihaspater Anandaha. 100 times of that would be the happiness of the Prajapati. Which Prajapati? We are not referring to Brahma. We are referring to the Prajapatis created by Brahma. 100 times that happiness. What would that be? Sa eko Brahmana Anandaha. This is not the Ananda of the Parabrahman that we are looking at. This is the Ananda of Brahma Deva. Okay. So how much did we travel? Think about it. We talked about a human who is very, very hard to find on earth, right? He is a youngster. He has achieved everything he has ever wanted. He has wealth all over the world. Everything is his wealth. He has wealth. He has health. He has everything. He is very strong. He is very positive minded. Totally. When I say very, it means totally. He doesn't have anything negative there. The amount of happiness that he would have is one Manusha Ananda. 100 times of that Manushya Gandharva is Ananda. 100 times of that Deva Gandharvanam Ananda. 100 times of that you would have Pitranam Chiraloka Lokanam Ananda. 100 times of that you would have Ajana Janam Devanam Anandaha. 100 times of that you would have Karma Devanam Anandaha. 100 times of that you would have Devanam Anandaha. 100 times of that you would have Indrasya Anandaha. 100 times of that you would have Brihaspatera Anandaha. 100 times of that you would have Prajapatera Anandaha. 100 times of that you would have one Brahmana Ananda, the Ananda of Brahma Deva, not the Brahman that we are looking at, not the Brahman of Brahma Jignasa, but Brahma Deva's Ananda. Now, the Veda will tell. You calculated so much, right? You arrived at a big number with a lot of zeros to arrive at the level of the happiness of Brahmadeva. Now do one thing. Assume that one Brahmana Ananda equals one Manusha Ananda. How can they be equal? This is such a huge number. 10 power something in 2 digits multiplied by one Manusha Ananda will give you Brahmana Ananda, one Brahmana Ananda. What should you do then? It says, no, please listen. Remember the procedure. You started with some amount of Ananda, which you called as Manusha Ananda. And from there you traveled by multiplying by 100, and so on and reached Brahmana Ananda. Now assume that whatever Ananda you have finally arrived at is only one Manusha Ananda, and then repeat the procedure again. Repeat the procedure all over again. So what should you do? Multiply by 100 again. Now you will arrive at a new Brahmana Ananda, which would have twice the number of zeros as the previous Brahmana Ananda. What will the Veda say? Now you take this as one Manusha Ananda and repeat the process one more time. How many times should I repeat the process? The Upanishad says, repeat it infinite times. When you repeat it infinite times, you will understand the level of Ananda of the Brahman. All of these beings have Ananda, right? All of these beings have Ananda. I have Ananda, you have Ananda. The very best theoretically possible man in the world also has Ananda. Above him, Manushya Gandharva, Deva Gandharva, all of them also have Ananda. Pitra, Karma Deva, Janya Deva. Janya Deva is just Deva. Then Indra, Brihaspati, Prajapati, Brahma, all of them have Ananda. But can I multiply that by some number to understand the amount of Ananda of the Parabrahman? I cannot. If I want to multiply, the Veda will say, keep multiplying forever. You keep multiplying. You arrived at a very big number. Okay, very great. Now go back to the first step and keep repeating. Keep adding zeros again and again and again and again, infinite times. Is it ever possible to keep adding zeros infinite times? It is not possible. It means Parabrahman has infinite Ananda. So who has Ananda? Everybody has Ananda. The extent to which they have Ananda is different. Okay. The extent to which we have Ananda is different. The statement itself is interpreted in different ways in different sampradayas. They say we all have, but we haven't realized. Some other people say we don't have, therefore we haven't realized. The minute we realize, we will have. That doesn't matter. That is just semantics. But infinite happiness, immeasurable happiness, how would you reach that? You can never imagine it. It is absolutely unimaginable even for Brahmadeva. This has to be understood. Even Brahmadeva cannot understand the level of happiness of the Parabrahman. How could the Parabrahman have so much happiness that it is immeasurable? How do you explain it? Bhagavad Pada said, that is a matter of Saguna Brahman. The Brahman mentioned in Brahma Jigyasa is Nirguna. For Nirguna Brahman, take Ananda to mean a proper noun. You will be happy. What does it mean? He is Ananda. He is Anandamaya. He is everything. No problem. He is Nirguna. He has no happiness. He has no quality. How would you measure the happiness of a being who doesn't have any quality? It is immeasurable. Just like how you said infinity is immeasurable. The happiness of a being that is void of qualities is also immeasurable, because happiness is a quality. You cannot define it for an attributeless being. He explained that way and moved ahead. In Vishishtadvaita, however, because Parabrahman is Savishesha, we have to accept Ananda. So we say, okay, Ananda is infinity, you cannot measure it. Immeasurably blissful. Okay, Parabrahman is immeasurably blissful. Now I know why I should seek him. I have only a limited amount of happiness. How is my happiness? One day I will be happy. The next day I will be sad. Even in the same day, I will be happy in the morning. I will be sad in the afternoon. I'll tell you a story. When I was in childhood, somewhere in third standard or something, I don't remember. I used to have a very smiling face. Once my teacher asked me, "Why are you smiling?" I told her I like to smile. I am smiling. Some days later, when I had to submit my notebook to her, she was teaching another class. I entered that classroom and I gave my notebook to her. She introduced the class to me. Sorry, she introduced me to the class. She told the class, "Look, this person, this boy here is very special. He smiles all the time. I wonder if he will smile even if I keep scolding him." She was just having fun. I was too stupid to understand that she wants to scold me just to see if I continue smiling. And I kept smiling. Ignorance is bliss. Are we referring to that kind of a bliss? We are not referring to that kind of a bliss. We are referring to bliss that does not come from ignorance. Bliss that comes from ignorance is temporary. When she actually scolded me just for the fun of it, I felt bad and I stopped smiling. Even at that time, I didn't realize she is doing it for fun. Unfortunately, I had such a bad teacher, just one. But if you are happy out of ignorance, that is a temporary happiness. That is not real bliss, and that is not what we are talking about. Remember our definition of Manusha Ananda? It talked about a man who is knowledgeable, not an ignorant man who is happy because he is ignorant. So, we are talking about real Ananda, pure Ananda. We are not talking about just the feeling. I could have Ananda even by drinking liquor. I'm very sad. I don't know what to do. Let me drink some liquor. It will make me happy. I will feel happy. But once its effects wear off, I will become sadder. And yes, I will also hurt my bladder and other organs. Why should we do all of that? We shouldn't. We should look for real Ananda. Okay, so how do we get Ananda? We can get Ananda only from sources of Ananda. What are the sources of Ananda? There are materialistic sources, right? Liquor itself is a materialistic source, but it is temporary and harmful. Some people say knowledge is power. Knowledge gives Ananda, but knowledge doesn't always give Ananda. If I gain knowledge that I have cancer, will I have Ananda? That knowledge is not going to give me Ananda. Which knowledge can give me Ananda? People went to the Buddha They asked him, what will give us Ananda? He said, oh, are you looking for Ananda? This Jagat itself is Dukhamaya. The entire universe is Dukhamaya. Your life itself is Dukhamaya. Everything is Dukha. Get out of all of these. Ananda, I will define it as the absence of Dukha. Bhagavad Pada would be fine with that because he is talking about an attributeless one. The attributeless, Nirguna Brahman, would have neither Dukha nor Sukha. Even Sukha Dukkhe Samay Kritva Labha Labhau Jaya Jaya would not be applicable to him because he will have no Sukha, no Dukkha, no Labha, no Alabha. Behave the same way at all points of time, says Krishna. But that is not applicable to Parabrahman because Parabrahman doesn't really have any of that as per Bhagavad Pada. But when we come to Vishishtadvaita, it is not like that. Parabrahman has all of that. Remember, how did we define that Parabrahman? We were very specific, right? In defining that Parabrahman. We said that we are referring to Nikhilahe Pratyanikaha, correct? What else did we say? We said he is Kalyanaikatana. How did we explain that? Anavadhika, Atishaya, Asankheya, Kalyana, Guna, Gana. Is that what we said? Anavadhika, Atishaya, Asankheya, Kalyana, Guna, Gana. Purushottamaha, Abhidiyate. So that is how we defined Brahman. So Brahman has infinite auspicious qualities, each of infinite magnitude, in such a way that you can never ever ever surpass that. And they are unique. You cannot find them here. They are of different types. When seen from that angle, the Ananda of the Parabrahman would be understood as being infinite in magnitude and infinite in types of Ananda as well. How did we decide that the Manushya Gandharva is happier than the Manushya? We said the Manushya Gandharva is more capable than the Manushya. It is possible that at some point of time, the Manushya would want to do something but fails. That gives him dukkha. Deshika explains in Tattvamukta Kalapa. What gives dukkha? You have desire. You start with desire. That desire is to attain something, maybe some state of existence, or maybe some material. You want to possess some material, or maybe you want to be in a particular situation. Whatever it may be, you are desiring for it. But whatever you want, when you fail to get it, that is when you have dukkha. We saw this, right? I think 2 classes back, we saw it in greater detail. So, failing to get what we want is what gives us sadness. At any point of time, that is what makes us sad. Oh, my husband went to fight a war. He hasn't returned yet. I wonder whether he is alive or not. What if he is dead? The wife is sad. Why? Because she is desiring her husband to be in a good state. But she thinks maybe he is not in a good state. So thinking about the possibility of her not achieving her desire, she becomes sad. This is how sadness works. So for you to be happy, Buddha said, leave all desires. You will automatically, whatever is left out, you can call that as Ananda. But there is another way. Achieve all your desires. Is that possible? That is also not possible. I can desire for anything and everything, but I can't achieve. That is why there are gradations in Ananda. The maximum capability of the Manushya is still lesser than the maximum capability of the Manushya Gandharva, which is itself less than the Deva Gandharva, and so on. So, we have such gradation in Ananda based on capability. Whoever is more capable has potentially more Ananda, could attain a greater level of Ananda during that life with that body. Okay. So let us keep on going up. Is there a person who is completely capable? Who is capable of doing anything and everything? Sarva Shakta. Yes. Who is that Sarva Shakta? None other than Brahman. Brahman is all capable. He is Sarva Shakta. How do you know that? You know that from the second sutra, Janmadhyasya Yataha. He is Sarva Shakta. Because what do you understand by Sarva? Sarva means everything. What do you mean by everything? Everything that I see in the universe, everything that happens in the universe. Okay. Everything that happens in the universe happens because of Brahman. The universe itself was created by Brahman. It is created, preserved, and destroyed by Brahman. That is the meaning of Janmadhyasya Yataha. Does it not mean that Brahman is supremely capable? So Brahman is supremely capable. Being supremely capable, Brahman has the potential to have supreme happiness. What do you mean by potential to have supreme happiness? An ordinary man wouldn't have the level of happiness as the man who has been described here in Anandavalli. But the man in Anandavalli, because he satisfies so many criteria, he is happy to a much greater extent than the common man. That we called as one Manusha Ananda. Brahman, Parabrahman, is infinitely capable. Therefore, it has infinite Ananda. Does it ever have less than infinite Ananda? No, it doesn't. Does it have the potential to have infinite Ananda? Brahman, by definition, has infinite Ananda. And therefore, the only being with the potential to have infinite Ananda is that Brahman alone. Since it already satisfies the condition, the ability to satisfy the condition exists in it. Does anything other than the Brahman have that capability? No. Therefore, Brahman alone has infinite Ananda. The Brahman is drastically different from us. Drastically different from us. We do not have the level of Ananda that the Brahman has. Because of that, what do? Deshika says very sarcastically in the very first shloka of Subhashita Nevi. Prathama Sujanaya Pumse Mahyamapi Prathama Durjanaya Namaha. A very beautiful shloka. He says, salutations to the foremost of the good beings. Who is that? That is Parabrahman. Correct? He has infinite Kalyana Gunas. Naturally, he is the very best. But how am I? Prathama Durjana. I am the foremost of the bad people. Okay. How does the Brahman behave? Sarvam hatah krutam yau sadupakara pakarabhyam. He says, Brahman is ready to forget all the bad things, apakaras, done to it. You do 100 bad things to Brahman, Brahman will still feel happy. Its happiness will not change. Shishupala was there in front of Krishna. Shishupala said, this Krishna, he is not fit to be in this sabha. He is after all a cowherd. Krishna is just like that. He is not feeling bad. Shishupala gets triggered. He says, this Krishna, look at him. Just look at this fellow. He looks like such an idiot. Nothing happened to Krishna. He is just like that. Krishna is so incapable. No reaction. Shishupala gets more and more triggered. Shishupala says, look at that Krishna. He is such a coward. He ran away from Jarasandha so many times. What a coward he is. Could he ever call himself Kshatriya? Of course, he is not a Kshatriya. But what kind of a person is he to run away from the battlefield like a coward? Krishna still does not change. Shishupala goes on and on and on. When Shishupala makes the 100th insult of Krishna, Krishna very calmly takes the Sudarshana Chakra and finishes off Shishupala. Krishna killed Shishupala, but Krishna did not get triggered. Krishna was forgetting and forgiving the apakaras done by Shishupala. He had promised Shishupala's mother, I will forgive 100 sins of your son. But Shishupala forgot the good thing done by Krishna to him. Shishupala looked like a proper person only because of Krishna. Krishna had cured him in childhood when he was a baby. If not for Krishna, he wouldn't have come in proper form. And if not for Krishna's kindness, Shishupala wouldn't be alive. Yet, Shishupala did not see it. He did not care. So, the difference that Shishupala forgot the good things done to him and instead started insulting Krishna. Shishupala would get happy when he insults Krishna. Look at him, he is just a cowherd. I am so superior. But deep within, that wasn't real Ananda. He was so low on Ananda that he had to keep on attacking Krishna. Krishna, on the other hand, had real Ananda. He had real Ananda, and that Ananda would never decrease no matter what other people say. Facts will remain facts. Nothing is going to change. Can anybody change anything about Krishna? Krishna is avyaya, right? Very beautifully, Krishna says in the 4th chapter, Chaturparnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. Very beautifully. He says, I am the one who created the 4 systems. Tasya kartaram api mam vidhi. You know that I am the one who did it. Also know that I am the one who did not do it. Vidhi akartaram avyaya. I am the akarta as well. And I am avyaya. I am unchanging. I am not touched by it. I am not affected by it. That is the nature of Brahman. Brahman is avyaya. It cannot change. It remains in infinite bliss. No matter what you do, that infinite Ananda cannot change. Thus, it remains an eternal source of infinite Ananda. Therefore, if we seek Ananda, where should we seek it from? We should seek Ananda from Brahman. We should seek Ananda from Brahman because Brahman is the eternal source and eternal enjoyer of infinite Ananda. Can the jivatma attain infinite ananda? Parabrahman is there. But in Vishishtadvaita, you have said Paramatma is different from jivatma. Can jivatma ever attain infinite ananda? In Vishishtadvaita, we say yes, he can. In Dvaita, they say no, jivatman cannot attain infinite ananda. How can they ever attain? In Dvaita, they will question. But very beautifully, the explanation given by Vishishtadvaitin and the Dvaitin would be one and the same. Their concept is one and the same, yet the way they phrase it would sound like polar opposites of each other. The Vishishtadvaiti will say, yes, the Jivatma will experience. The Dvaiti will say, no, he cannot experience. But both of them will mean the exact same thing. This is the fundamental problem with Vedanta. Two seemingly opposite statements will mean the same thing, and two seemingly equivalent statements would mean the exact opposite things. Modern people find it very difficult to understand. I put inside ChatGPT, I wrote 100 prompts to understand Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita. I couldn't understand properly. What to do? There is a research paper that I read very recently, just 2 days back, about the differences in philosophy between Sri Aurobindo and Sri Ramanuja. But most of what was mentioned as difference was not even a difference. The person who has written the research work has unfortunately misinterpreted. Based on plain statements, they have thought that, okay, these people are different from each other. In reality, they have the exact same view. So, understanding the views inside of Vedanta takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of training. You have to drill down, go into the depth, try to understand what they are saying, why they are saying what they are saying, how they are saying what they are saying. This is why, in general, Vedanta is supposed to be tougher than the other sections of the scriptures. Knowing that Rama went to Lanka and killed Ravana is not a big deal. Rama went to Lanka, he killed Ravana, he came back. That is very easy to understand. But understanding the philosophy, the intricate philosophy, which is taught inside Ramayana itself, would not be easy. A lot of people don't even realize that there is greatly intricate philosophy hidden inside Ramayana. How do we deal with these things then? That is why we say Shastra Jnanam Bahuklesham Buddheschalana Karanam Upadeshat Harim Buddha Viramet Sarva Karmasu. It is indeed very difficult. The knowledge of the Shastra is very difficult. It will easily confuse you. Therefore, approach the experts and learn only from the experts. Get Upadesha from the Guru. Tadvijnanartham Sugurumeva Bhigachet Samitpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham, as it has been said in the Veda itself. This remains the only way to learn Shastra in an authentic way. We have seen about it in very great depth. We will not repeat it further. But any other way of understanding the Shastra, by thinking, oh, AI has advanced so much, let me ask Claude, let me ask ChatGPT. How could any guru or acharya give me better information than even ChatGPT? ChatGPT can think 10,000 times better than my guru. That is true. But guru is fed with authentic input. Your ChatGPT is fed with nonsense from the internet. There is a difference between the two. That needs to be understood. And therefore, with humility, when you understand that the level of happiness of Indra is different from the level of happiness of Brihaspati, and you wonder why. There is a very beautiful story. Indra was unhappy with Brihaspati. This old man doesn't understand my needs. I don't want him anymore. Let me cancel. Indra decided to cancel Brihaspati. He said, I will appoint a youngster. I'll appoint a Gen Z person to handle all the yajnas. What happened? Brihaspati didn't mind. He said, okay, fine. Relieve me from my duties. I'll be all the more happy. Indra failed, right? When the youngster came and performed the yajna, the devas did not get their stomachs filled. He performed everything perfectly. He recited the mantras perfectly. His rituals were conducted perfectly, and still they did not receive. They did not understand what's going on. Eventually, it became a huge issue that Indra had to face. But at the end of it all, what did Indra do? Once again, he went to Brihaspati and said, "Oh, I am so sorry, please come back." So Brihaspati's Ananda is 100 times that of Indra. Indra cannot match that because what Brihaspati is capable of and what Brihaspati knows, Indra does not understand. That's the reason why he is the guru of Indra. So, with that, we will conclude today's lecture. We still have to go through a few more, right? Modification or abundance. Who causes Ananda Maya? We discussed about Ananda. We have to discuss about Ananda Maya and then go to Vijnana Maya, right? Annamaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, Manomaya, all of those are there, right? We haven't covered those words yet. And in specific, the word Vijnanamaya has to be discussed. We will do that in the next class. For now, if any of you has any questions, please feel free to ask me. Does one Manushananda even exist? Theoretically, it exists. Practically, we have to search for such a human. Why does Bhagavan call himself Akarta? Oh, that's a great question. In the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, he says, Vidhi Akartaram. How is Bhagavan the Akarta? He literally says, Tasya Kartaram api mam vidhi. I am the doer. Know that I am the doer. And also the non-doer. How could he be the non-doer if he is the doer? Why does Krishna have to complicate things? Can't he say anything straight? This is how Krishna will speak. Right? Karmanya karmaya pashyeta karmani cha karmaya. One who sees akarma in karma and karma in akarma. How can you ever see akarma inside karma? Akarma is the opposite of karma. Akarma means where there is no karma, there is akarma. How can there be akarma inside karma? How can there be karma inside akarma? This is how Krishna will speak. He does the same thing here. He says, I am the doer, I am also the non-doer. Why does Krishna speak in this way? So that the Atapaska cannot learn, as he would explain in the 18th chapter, after the famous Sarva Dharman Parityaja shloka. There is a shloka immediately after Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja. This shloka is very, very rarely discussed, but it's one of the most important shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna tells Arjuna who all not to teach. And Krishna is not just a person who gives advice. He is a person who follows his own advice. He ensures that his teachings are complex enough that only one who is already well trained and well educated can understand it properly. The other people can only imagine and assume as they please. They cannot understand the actual intent of Krishna. One who is formally trained, as told by Krishna himself in the 4th chapter, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, that person would be able to understand. Having said that, I must admit I haven't answered the question yet. Why does Krishna call himself the Akarta? If he is the doer of everything, why does he call himself the non-doer? Can he even be the non-doer? Didn't we just say Janmadhyasya Yataha? He is the one who creates, preserves, and destroys. If he is not the doer, then who is the doer? Can we say that he is not the doer because Parabrahman is Nirguna, it never did anything? The Advaita's Nirguna Brahman wrote. Can we adopt that? I will answer this question in the next class about the difference in the doership as explained by Advaita and Vishishtadvaita. We have covered a part of it before. We will cover the remaining in the next class because it is connected to Ananda. For you to say that an entity has Ananda, we said that it should have some capability. Capability to have Ananda is also a guna. That means you have to be saguna, you cannot be nirguna. The word nirguna here, of course, implies void of gunas. In certain contexts, we use it as gunatita to explain that it is not a mixture of sattva, rajas, and tamas, but is shuddha sattva. So even as per Vishishtadvaita, Brahman is nirguna, but the word nirguna, the meaning of the word nirguna changes when used in Vishishtadvaita when compared to Advaita. Since it gets complex there, I will leave it for the next class. But I will explain this at the start of the next class. Okay. Thank you so much for attending.